Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Rob Baer, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher, Mike Haspil, and Wyatt Turk. What's up, guys?
Oh, dog, great to be here.
Greetings and felicitations.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Wyatt has a cat.
Oh, he's gone now.
Oh, Wyatt had a cat.
He was here, yes.
I saw it are real. We're back from our Thanksgiving hiatus, and it's great to be here. I had the hams. What'd you guys have?
Yeah, Penny bought a turkey, which was great, at Costco, which wasn't that great.
Uh-oh. I expected more out of this story.
I made Texas fried rice, which is like barbecue pork butt and fried rice. And then I had coconut shrimp.
Nice. Yeah, it was a good turkey. It was just 20 pounds of it for two people.
Oof.
So I'm still eating turkey.
You can't handle 10 pounds of turkey in a sitting, man. That's rookie numbers. Come on.
Well, Penny always cooks. She's an excellent cook, but she cooks for like 40 people. And I'm just like, I'm really happy you made all these different meals, but I guess we're good for the winter. Like, I don't think eating Thanksgiving until January.
I don't think you're the only one that did that, because I think a lot of folks were used to making a lot of food, but there wasn't a lot of people around and they didn't know how to scale back. And it seemed like, at least from what I saw locally, that not a lot of people went out the next day. Supposedly the next day is like really busy for restaurants, and they weren't.
No.
So, yikes.
Well, they made her famous Skyrim soup, Mike.
Oh, nice.
Afterwards, she takes the ham because she learned it in a recipe while playing Skyrim back in 2011 when I was showing her video games for the first time. And it was just one of the recipes she picks up. She reads them all. She reads everything. I'm just like, ignore everything, trash it in my inventory. She's like, oh, look at this new soup, cabbage and apples. And she's like, goes and makes it in the game and thinks it's awesome to have in her inventory, you know? And then one day she was like, I bet I can make this in like real life. And then she started making a cabbage and apple soup with a ham bone. It's pretty fucking good. Like we call it Skyrim soup because she literally
keeping up with that theme. Have you heard of this game called Elder Scrolls Morrowind?
Yeah.
It's amazing. That'll make more sense later in the podcast.
Yeah. Do you have to use floppy disks to boot it up?
No.
Not that old, man. Shit, dude.
Oh, speaking of old games, I got MechWarrior 4 to work on my Windows 10. Yeah, like I got it. Kenny remembers last year my 2-day trial of trying to get it to work, and then I finally got it to work. And then there was a Windows update this summer that made it not work again. And then the community was like, we will figure this out. And so this time around, much easier to figure out because they actually figured out how to like rewrite this one like DLL file. And then you have to insert this one line of code into the startup shortcut to give it like certain like overrides. Because basically like Windows, if you have a 32-bit like Windows, if you have like a really, really cheap computer, it'll work fine because it's a 32-bit game. But if you have Windows 64-bit, which most people have, you have to override certain startup procedures because the game wants to open it as a 64-bit. And if it reads it as 32, it opens it as a background process. So it won't actually open the game and you can't play it. So turns out just inputting this one little string forces it to open it as an active program, which makes it work just fine. And that's always nice because MechWarrior 4 is one of my most favorite games, and being able to just boot it up at any point is a lot of fun.
It was the pinnacle of the mech games.
Yeah.
You guys know that they made MechWarrior games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's actually a MechWarrior 5 out now.
Yeah. I think it's really good. It's just like my personal taste of MechWarrior is post 3050. And MechWarrior 5 is not that. And so MechWarrior 4 hits different because it's FedCom Civil War.
Oh my God, you're a fucking nerd.
Clan Ghost Bear for life. Let's go.
All right. Well, let's.
I don't understand half the shit you just said, but I'm glad you like it.
I mean, it's hype. There's passion in it, but
I love BattleTech.
we got a lot of things to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the new Deathguard preview. We're going to talk about Blood Angel rules because we didn't get to cover those because holidays. And we have a brand new Haspil's Corner. It's going to be life-altering, hot off the presses. So we'll turn
Cutting edge tech.
Yeah.
I'll turn it over to Wyatt so he can tell us a joke.
I got you, fam. Would you rather be able to go back and tell your past self one thing, or be able to go forward and ask your future self one question?
Ooh, that is really good.
That's a good one. Right? Because one of them is predicated on like, am I okay? Am I content with how things have gone thus far? Do I need to go back in time and really improve anything that's occurred? Anything really fucked me? Right? Or do you go forward and try to figure out how to Biff Buchanan the situation? You know what I mean?
You gotta. I feel like you gotta step into the quantum leap accelerator.
But I think there's a third scenario. There's like, maybe there's something that hasn't happened yet that you're constantly worried about. Like, man, this could fuck me one day. Hasn't fucked me yet. It's been 2 decades, but it could one day. It constantly is in the back of my head. Maybe you could go back in time and talk to yourself and be like, don't do that thing. It's going to fucking kill us one day from just anxiety. So there's a couple of some scenarios.
That is a good one. That is a good one.
Because I've got lots of those third scenarios.
I feel like there is a trap here, though. Because, well, if you go to the future and ask yourself a question and then come back and change something, that's not the future anymore.
Ooh, okay. So Mike's picking up on this. Yeah.
So what's that? What version of quantum mechanics does Jin subscribe to?
Well, or you could go back, but then you're in a what is it called, like a butterfly effect situation.
You could wind up killing yourself because
this is in fact very sinister.
Yeah, you go back in time and you tell yourself one thing, like, "Hey, don't do this," and you wind up killing yourself. Now your present self doesn't exist because you created a divergent timeline.
Yeah, and then your dad is Biff Buchanan and your mom has fake tits.
Sneaky.
Well, I guess the safest thing to do is to ask your future self a question. Because that preserves you.
Yeah, so you don't create an alternate you by asking your future self.
Yeah, you just fuck him.
You just fuck
also
him.
Depending on your interpretation of time travel, if I were to go forward and ask myself, like, what's like a extremely lucrative stock that I should invest in 2020? Then depending on how the cyclical thing of time travel works, like you going forward to ask that question, then going back to invest in that is how that future gets made in the first place.
It could be, yeah. Very
Or
much.
what if I only get one question? I go to the future with this one perfect question, and then I'm like, what stock should I invest in? My future self is literally Dirty Mike and the boys hanging out in their fucking overvest. Like, why would I fucking know that?
Yeah.
I should have asked you. I should have looked at the situation and asked you, what do I need to?
How did this happen?
Yeah. What did you do wrong?
And then he's like, I invested in stock. And you're like, oh, no.
Oh, no.
I think you just got to get to sport. You got to get to Sports Almanac, right?
Yeah, dude, just do a time heist.
Yeah. Just
This is the ultimate situation of, have you ever been standing around and been like, God damn it, past Kenny, you fucked me again? That happens a lot around here.
All the time. Yeah.
So I think you got to go forward, ask a question.
Constantly fucking me over.
Yeah. You go forward and ask a question, and it's the ultimate, like, past Haspil fucked future Haspil scenario, right? Because you would fuck his life up potentially.
Yeah.
Past Haspil in the win.
Yeah.
It was funny what somebody in the chat just mentioned GW stock, and what actually made me think about this is that earlier I was like, man, if I had bought like $10,000 of Games Workshop stock in like 2012, the return on that now would be pretty fucking nice.
Oh yeah. Yep.
You know those memes where like the guy's reading some stuff and then at the end it's like, I wish I could read.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about stocks. It's like if I invested $10,000 in stocks 10 years ago, if only I had money.
It's like a catch-22 there.
It's a good one, Wyatt. What about you, Rob? What would you do?
I think future Rob. Definitely find out some question or something that wouldn't affect me now.
Yep.
And the sports almanac. Can't get.
You don't get to bring. You ask him a question. It's information gathering.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Just be like, who won Super Bowl, whatever. Done.
Yep.
Then you know.
I would.
Oh yeah, you could definitely do. You could go back. And
how long do I have with my future self in this scenario? Enough that he can go to the computer and Google something for me?
No, I mean you have to go back and tell him one thing, and then that's it.
Rob, who won the Super Bowl in 1997? See the problem with your question?
49ers or Cowboys?
See the problem with your question?
Well, yeah,
Yes.
but you would. So it's like I would research. I was like, okay, who won the Super Bowl in 2005? What was the spread? Like all that kind of shit, right? And then I would just go back and be like, this year, this person, like this team wins the Super Bowl. This is the spread. And then like you could bet huge on like all of the stuff and win huge.
Who won the Super Bowl?
Betting
who won the Super Bowl
wins
this year and what was the spread, Rob?
Wait, it hasn't happened this year. Oh, last year? Kansas City won. I don't know the score.
There's a lot of holes in this scenario. I'm going to leave it in his court. I'm going to say, I'm going to ask you one question. This is going to be huge. What do you think the most important thing I should have done that you didn't do is between now and then? Like between these moments.
Oh yeah, like what's your biggest regret?
Yeah, like I'm like literally like he's got one. So I'm going to fish it from him.
Yep.
I'm going to let him answer.
I like it.
Yeah. I would probably go to the future.
Yeah, I think the future is the way to go.
Because by examining something, like by just getting there, I can tell more than one thing.
Yeah, everybody's obsessed with these fancy calculators now.
But I'm such a kind of prick and I don't trust anybody anyway that if I saw myself coming from the past to ask me something, I would fuck with me. So I'd be like, well, after COVID-23, dog, like, and the balkanization of the United States, buy ammo. You know what I mean? I would just tell them some nonsense. You go back, invest in ammo, and then nothing happens. Who knows?
I'm trying to think of like something. What's like something in 2011 that is that started in like 2011, 2012, but is insanely lucrative now? Because I mean, like most of the big companies, like I can't like in my timeline, I can't go back and tell myself to invest in Microsoft, right?
Oh,
I wasn't around. And in like the 90s when it started getting really big, I was a kid.
Any of the social media platforms really started to take off around then.
If I start thinking right now, preparing myself for this question, I just hey, remember this. Will my future self
Tesla?
Remember that?
Yeah, Tesla.
Yeah, I mean Tesla might be a good one.
Tesla.
Not Bitcoin is not. Shut up. Bitcoin's terrible.
What? Cryptocurrency, man.
Yeah, maybe Amazon. It depends on because I mean, like Amazon was around. I mean, like I guess maybe Netflix would be a good one because, like in 2011, Netflix wasn't it wasn't the juggernaut that it is now.
I think you started to get like the discs.
Yeah,
like around 2010, 2011.
I feel like you're overcomplicated,
Right.
man. I'm telling you, my new idea. Every time the Powerball goes over 100 million, you write down those results every time. And then you memorize them and you get them tattooed on your arm. I'm just saying that to myself now. That's my new thing. Every time the Powerball goes over 100, that's what I'm doing now for the next 10 years. That's something I do in the back of my mind.
So you just win the lottery. Okay.
Right? And then when I go to my future self, I'm like, you got the numbers? It's like, got the fucking numbers, baby. tattooed on my arm. Then I just cut his fucking skin off and take it back with me. So, fuck you. Stupid.
Give me that skin.
If I get back in time, I'm like, oh, I didn't write the date down here. I cut his skin off too soon. He didn't say which date it was. All right, good one.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah, that was solid.
It's a brain twister.
That was solid.
No, yeah, numbers with no dates. What do we got for Tabletop Market Watch? Like, this is like an in-between week. So I think the Deathguard Codex is probably the Deathguard release is probably going to be next week, because usually the week of Christmas, GW doesn't really put out a lot of stuff, like little stocking stuff for things, if anything. So yeah, we'll probably see Deathguard get teased on Sunday that's going out. But this week, if you're into the Underworlds Season 4 Haspil, you believe it?
I know.
Warhammer Underworlds. Dire Chasm, the starter is now $75.
Whoa.
That's right. $75 for the starter. They got a counter set for $18, a deck box set for $12, and then they're doing some sort of dice pack for $30 each. I couldn't control my laughter there as I said it. I was like, okay. Then Warcry's got their version of the Grand Alliance books coming out. So if you want to either know all the rules for Warcry for Order, Chaos, Death, or Destruction, they have an individual book coming out for each for $25, except for the Order is $35. Oh, it looks like the Chaos one's $35 as well. And then they got some larger, I don't know what that, just like combo boxes for like Sylvaneth, Legions of Nagash, the Shadowstalkers, and the Signs of the Flame that came in the Warcry starter that came out recently for Catacombs. Those are separate. Those are $55 each. Sylvaneth one's $75, Legions of Nagash $60, and then you got some dice packs for $27.
A little smaller than Star Collecting boxes?
Yeah, they're like 2 squads. So it's, I guess the Star Collecting is like 3 squads and a dude. So slightly smaller, basically. And that's basically it. Looks like a couple of books, but nothing too crazy on the Black Library front there.
The new Blood Bowl set is out.
That came out over Thanksgiving, yeah.
I got mine. It's very nice.
Yeah?
It's very cool. I'm very excited for it.
They definitely seem to have put more value in there for sure.
Oh yeah. So I can speak to that. So I could be remembering incorrectly, but so they have 2 sets of dice, whereas previously I think they had 1 set. The templates and measuring stick are the same, but you do get 2 teams with a big guy, which is a separate purchase usually, and you get 2 brand new heroes. So I didn't know that the orcs got one too. So they have Griff Oberwald and Varag Ghoulchewer, which previously were Forge World models, and these are brand new plastic models for those. You get a double-sided pitch and 2 double-sided dugouts, and the core rules of the game in a nice hardcover book. And this is nice because last time you got like the quick start guide that was only for like the human and the orc team just to be able to play. Whereas this time it is the full rule book with how to, like, the core rules, exhibition play, and how to run a league. And it has rules for all the teams in it. And they only have the current plastic teams, but if you go to Warhammer Community, they have the rules for all of the teams, the ones they haven't gotten around to yet.
Nice. Yeah, they got the refs in there, and also
I forgot about the referees. They have
an
2
ogre
referees.
And that's
the big guys. They have an ogre for the human team and a trained troll for
trained troll. Yeah. I think the money for it's pretty good, especially because it comes with the full rule book too. So I think it would be more popular right now if you could play with, because the leagues and stuff at game stores are always hype, but it's hard to get hype and play when it's hard to get a game in with somebody right now, unfortunately. But
it's nice to have like, I don't know how, if they're going to keep that around for very long. Cause I remember like they moved like the Blood Bowl starter box to online only for a while. And then like they just stopped selling it at one point.
Huh.
Cause the only reason we had one is because we had one in the shop that just nobody had bought for a really long time because there wasn't any other way to get one.
Yeah. I don't remember if it went away or not, but, I mean, everything right now, if you want it, you see it on a shelf, probably grab it because if not, it's going to sell out. It's going to go for a premium. I mean, even it's crazy what just assembled and painted stuff is going for on eBay right now.
Oh yeah.
Just in general.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we talked about this in the pre-show, but new Hero Forge is up and running. So if you want to get full colored printed models from Hero Forge, you can do that. And they have assets to make Blood Bowl teams. So if you want a Blood Bowl team of, you know, a custom one, maybe you want to play dwarves, but you don't like the models, you can make your own and you don't even have to paint them, which is pretty nice. Or you can do like I'm doing and print them at home.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that. I haven't seen one of the color ones outside of the pictures, but I would love to get one in my hot little hands. Save that right there. So some other news outside of GW, but we'll circle back to GW here in a second. Modifius is doing their ModCon. It starts tomorrow, where they're going to have some panels and such. I think they paired up with How to Be a Great GM YouTube channel. So the 4th, 5th, and 6th, they will have a whole lot of stuff going on, and you can sign up to get all the information over on their website or view the schedule. I'm sure it'll be up on there at some point. Actually, it's up on there right now. I'm looking at it. So they're going to have a lot of different stuff. Next step, GM techniques, some Star Trek adventures, a lot of Star Trek adventures, Dune 2D20, How to Be a GM, coming in 2021. Looks like some Cthulhu stuff, painting miniatures, tips and tricks. So very cool. Lots of stuff happening over there this weekend. So be sure to check that one out. On the video game side of things, Cyberpunk 2077 comes out in 1 week from today. So that's going to be December 10th. I don't think they can possibly delay it anymore. I think it's happening for sure.
It's happening.
Victoria Miniatures did some previews for her new line of Lady Scorpion models, the Desert Scorpions. They're basically not Tolerants. They look great. So I can't wait to get those in because I think she did a really good job with those, representing some of those guard factions that we haven't seen any models for in quite some time. You may remember, usually December is the time Games Workshop puts out their new chapter approved book. But we got one in the summer, and there hasn't been any tournaments. So I don't think we're getting one. But maybe we will. Or maybe it'll just be in the summer. Who knows? But either way, I think eventually, once things get started, we might see a new schedule for when they come out with the, the FAQs and also the chapter approved, the new points changes and such. But they don't really have to right now. So just the FYIs, if you're looking for a chapter approved book, probably not happening in December. But what's the other thing? Oh, yeah. So they got the Advent engine. You guys seen this? They're doing a new kind of rumor engine preview every day for the next, 20, I guess it's 23 days now. I think it's pretty neat just to keep hype going because, a lot of people, there's a lot of stuff going on in December. So it's really cool to kind of see a new daily little rumor teaser. And they've been all sorts of wide variety of different stuff they could possibly be. The one the other day, it looked like there was an Inquisition symbol on this book that could maybe be guardsman. Maybe it's a priest. We haven't seen a good guard priest in a while, right? A new one would in plastic would be a
strong priest or whatever they're called.
Yeah. So that would be pretty cool. But we're getting lots and lots of looks over the next few days there. And that's kind of the biggest stuff that I'm kind of tracking new release wise, just going into the holidays.
December on Twitch, we got Monkey Resin, Light Shroud Terminators.
Those are legit models, especially, because everybody kind of needs them depending on what's going on with Mortarion. But
I mean, they're a fucking sick Terminator equivalent, old school Rogue Trader era design, Carnage King, your boy.
Oh, the Manda Showen looking guys.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I love it when I see someone who's like, oh, it's like a Fifth Element guy. And it was like funny when I saw the Fifth Element, I was like, it's a Terminator.
Yeah.
So those models have been a lightning rod for comments and Spiky Bits Hobbies Facebook, because a lot of newer hobbyists are like,
This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Why do you guys like this?
I don't get it. And then a lot of older hobbyists that remember what the old Saturnine look, they're like, oh no, this is the freshest thing ever. So it's like really interesting to see the exchange of comments over these models. And some folks have been painting them and putting, besides Kenny, and putting pictures up. Like I think somebody posted up the Terminators as Space Wolves, and people are like, obviously a lot of engagement, but very confused, and then of course you always get the Fifth Element memes with those little dudes that look very similar. But
Haspil knows the name of that race. What was it again?
I think it's the Manda Showens.
Seems right. I mean, obviously,
I'm super happy that my idea of resurrecting the Saturnine was able to be brought forth to the masses.
Yes, I'm painting the the Blight Shroud Terminator version, right? It's December, but there's regular ass, good guy versions, everything. They're very hype, very impressive models, and I'm painting them live, and you can see that shit on Twitch right now.
I can't talk too much about it, but there is something else coming down the pipe that is very, very cool. So keep your eyes peeled.
It's going to be fucking sexy. Speaking of, it's obviously, this is the season finale of 2020, right? We're doing December as the first podcast of December. We're going to be off. We're doing only 3 episodes this month, right? We're doing up to the 17th. So we're going to try.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're not doing Christmas Eve, right?
No, or New Year's Eve.
Or New Year's Eve. I mean, we'll take
you guys doing something?
Yes, not.
I'm just trying to stay warm out here, Haspil.
He's just trying to stay alive.
I'm just trying to stay warm.
Yeah, this little lizard heat rock. But it's we're going into the holiday home stretch. We're going into the season finale. As predicted, Deathguard Codex will drop this month. So there's going to be some Deathguard coverage, and, obviously people like Monkey Resin are jumping on with incredible Deathguard models. Wyatt is on Twitch right now doing some hype, like incredible shit with Mortarion right now. It's going to be fucking sexy, man. I am so happy to end this year with Deathguard, something near and dear to me. How about you guys?
I'm having a great time. I got my boy Carnage King. He designed me a Mortarion in the same vein of all of my 90s retro Deathguard stuff. So I've been painting that up on Twitch. And probably a couple more streams and he'll be done. So I'm really looking forward to that.
I logged into the site today actually, and I was looking at the header. I was doing some updates and checking things, and I kind of looked at all the stats on how many posts and things we had done. So I just wanted to say that I'm thankful for everybody that has read the site, and obviously listen to podcasts, watch all our videos and stuff through the years. But we have published, as of right now, 30,782 articles on Spiky Bits, and since 2009. Most of them suck.
No, I mean, like the vast majority of them are just clickbait, spam bullshit.
Yeah, of course. But with another 380 in drafts that, I have to get around to.
I'm just going to invalidate that achievement. Like, that's not impressive. That quantity is garbage because your site's garbage.
Right. Thank you. I'm glad you brought that up. But I just wanted to say thank you.
I truly do recognize that you are human refuse, right? Anyone who's listening, I'm role playing as the internet. right now.
Yeah, that's pretty much. That's pretty much
I
everything.
think Rob is the greatest, and his website is awesome.
Yeah, that's seriously impressive.
For me, it's mostly okayish. But thank you everybody for reading, and definitely if you have any ideas or just want to tell me I have a stupid face, please email me because I read them all. I don't reply to everything, but I always like to hear new ideas. And
he's got a folder with some of the best ones in it.
I do collect the hater Pokemons. They're great.
Really glad that Spiky Bits is around, Rob, because if we didn't have Spiky Bits, then we'd just be left with Bell of Lost Souls, and that would make the world a very sad, dreary place. So thank you.
Yeah, we used to work pretty closely with them many years ago.
Yo, fuck Larry.
Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader relationship.
We'll just leave it at that.
Wow.
We used to work very, very closely years ago.
A little inside track right there.
But sometimes things aren't meant to be, right? Anyways, so yeah, thank you everybody for reading and watching and listening and on all the
and keep clicking. Keep on clicking.
Buying those dick pills.
You gotta click and you gotta refresh the page every time, guys. Shout out.
You don't really have to do that.
It does it by itself. It's in the 90s.
Kilty O'Neill says Spiky Bits, home of the 4-hour Happy Pill.
That's true.
Yeah.
We're not saying that you're gonna get a boner for 4 hours, but you may get a boner for 4 hours.
But yeah, no, I got lots of hobby projects. Just finding time to get into everything is a little bit of a struggle, but we're getting there. We're chugging through it.
33,000 articles. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Wow.
It was impressive, man. I'm thankful for you.
Sometimes that's a bit of a hobby in itself, right?
Speaking of hobby in itself, I have been so relentlessly shamed by this chat over the last 5 weeks over that Custodes shirt that we finally got up. And I also did the Space Wolf shirt, a Necron shirt, and Wyatt's Ultra Homies shirt. So thanks, chat. Now let's end it. No,
we need more shirts, man.
Like I will draw them at a pace that is comfortable from henceforth. No,
Nice.
I don't know. I feel like it's 2020. All bets are off, right? Everybody's doing something different. Companies are struggling just to keep up. So
Yep.
just staying happy and staying focused on something you enjoy is kind of the key right now.
it is. We have a Haspil's Corner, but before that, didn't something did happen yesterday with the Deathguard?
We're tearing out?
Was there a preview?
There's been a few
Yeah.
previews. I think a few data sheet leaks.
Leaks and previews, right? Like, so the GW put something
Yeah.
yesterday, right?
Let me consult the
I'd like to know that date.
schedule. Let's see. Free Deathguard miniature, which by the way is one of the ones out of the Deathguard box. See the preview. New Deathguard preview on Monday. It looks like.
Oh, Monday. Yeah.
That's all right. We got it.
So that's a good indicator that Sunday is when they're going to announce it for pre-order.
Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, they did the Plague Marine updates. They are officially 2 wounds. Yay!
2 wounds and an
toughness
extra
5.
attack.
Yep, and toughness 5, which they already were.
Yeah, so I mean, so that's interesting because we all knew that they were going to get a second wound. GW told us, what we didn't expect is a straight up stat increase, like statistical, not just hey more wounds, but like hey more offense. That's pretty cool. They're like straight up Primaris, like they feel like Primaris Marines.
They definitely redesigned the cast, all the new cast models to be Primaris C size, so that's neat to see. Then there's the Possessed. I like that they kind of took the unpredictability out of their attacks now. Supposedly they're going to have 4 flat attacks.
It's pretty nice.
And plague weapons, which I guess we're assuming that
Reroll one's the wound.
Yeah, still.
Pretty fucking good. Another stat line. I mean, like more than just more wounds, guys. More than just this. You know, it's new. This is a new codex. This is a new edition.
Defiler hitting on 3s.
Defiler's a big one. It's a personal one. Everyone who's been following, knowing that, like, I have been doing a Deathguard project, and Wyatt successfully shamed me into painting my own army during COVID.
I did.
I put a lot of hours into the pieces I have and what I've collected, and I was there for when they dropped the what we predicted the points were going to be when they indexed. They give us all our points, and then they told us, hey, it's going to change again. And then so I've been in this holding pattern, waiting to see what happens, because some of the units in my army might not have made it, right? Stuff like that. So I have some Defilers that are pretty awesomely converted. I got some awesome turrets from Wyatt 3D printing, and that Defiler makes me very happy because it exists. That's the first thing. It's there. It's in the codex, and it's got a statistical increase again. It moves faster and hits on a better number. It's incredible. And Defilers, honestly, bare bone Defilers, I love them for Deathguard. And so it's kind of like they were listening to what people were waiting on.
I think we're going to talk a little bit about the Blood Angels later, but I like so far from all the books, it seems like all of these supplements are more geared to what those armies are supposed to do. Like what they do in the fluff is kind of more reflected now in the rules. And I like how they've done it. It seems like they have a renewed focus on it. So I expect Deathguard. Now, Deathguard is going to be a unique book, guys, because it is not a supplement. It is its own book. So it's basically like a Chaos Codex combined with a supplement. It's Codex Deathguard.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. So that's going to be interesting to see, because in theory, they could have supplements for the Deathguard Codex. Like the cleave and stuff.
I guess they could. I mean, we have the plague companies, but I don't know how much they're going to expand on those. So we'll have to see. I mean, overall, I'm very optimistic with this, but I'm still preparing for a lot of the old tricks that we've been using to no longer exist. So if you're a Deathguard player, with any GW release, I always say hope for the best, plan for the worst. So what some of the things I'm looking at is I don't think the grenade stratagem is going to be there or function the same way that it does now. I think a lot of the stacking buffs that we had before are going to function differently or no longer be there. Probably going to be a lot of units that we're no longer going to be able to take, as we've seen from the Forge World stuff. And what was the other thing that we talked about earlier, Kenny?
Contaminated Monstrosity.
Yeah, I think Contaminated Monstrosity is going to work differently or be removed. And then just prepare for a change to Disgustingly Resilient. We don't know that that's a truth, but it's a heavily backed up rumor from a lot of the playtesting community. So if you expect it to change and it does change, you won't be sad. But if it doesn't change, then you'll be happy.
Mm-hmm. Precisely. I mean, and the big takeaway is, to Rob's point, is this is a codex. This isn't a supplement. This doesn't draw on the Chaos Space Marine Codex. That's why it's able to come out first, right? This is uniqueness as defined by GW's own words in the first Chaos Space Marine Codex that dropped this edition, where it said these rules work for everyone's rules except Deathguard and Thousand Suns, right? They're so we can. I think the takeaway is we're finally going to get 4 separate Chaos books for the uniqueness of our 4 cults. And Wyatt had made a prediction a while back that the cults should go to 2 wounds and be Primaris Marines. He'd been saying that long before all this, and so. In Chaos Space Marines have enough Legion diversity now over the course of Psychic Awakenings and Vigilus Blazes and stuff that they don't need the cults clogging up the Codex. They've got a dozen Legions and all these rules now. So I expect the Chaos Space Marine Codex to look a lot like the Space Marine Codex, and any supplements that pop off out of that will be Alpha Legion, stuff like that. But the uniqueness that is the cults are gonna plow through, and I think we can expect to finally see some crazy ass new units for World Eaters and Emperor's Children, based on what we're seeing right now. Like GW is not afraid to throw stats down and make sick new models.
And I hope so.
Yep. But we'll know soon enough. They definitely have a bunch more previews this weekend, I think.
Oh yeah, and we're deliberately, and I clickbaited people with the title, talk about Deathguard. We're deliberately going to keep our Deathguard segment short because we only have 3 episodes left this year, and there's going to be a lot of Deathguard talk, especially with all the leaks and the full codex likely to hit the internet over the next 14 days. So we don't want to do the same episode 3 times in a row.
Yeah, I think the big stuff that we already know is Mortarion stuff to say. It's kind of huge. So.
Yep, we can speculate. We did a tactics class earlier today. It's all just speculation right now, like what could happen, what can't happen. So instead, we do have a new set of rules we haven't got to comment to. For the meat and potatoes, Blood Angels happened, and then we were on vacation, stuff like that. So before that, though, cutting edge, brand new shit from Mike Haspil and Haspil's Corner. Who was muted?
Yeah, he was.
I am still muted.
There you go. Gotcha. We hear you now.
Yeah. So
absolute professionalism here.
I guess it's about a month ago. I got a bunch of miniatures admitted to the World Fantasy Con art show, which was really a total honor, definitely like a bucket list thing. But it made me realize that the newest of those minis, with the exception of the diorama I'd done for the Kenny had painted the miniatures from my novel. So I made the diorama, but other than that, everything that I entered into that art show was at least 3 years old. So I was like, oh man, I've been painting for volume and I haven't really been painting for like quality or detail. I've just been painting like I need to get all these Blood Ravens done, or I need to get these sisters painted or whatever. So I'm just going for speed or whatever. So, what I wanted to start getting back into it, and I pulled down some old brushes that I had, that Elric's Hobbies used to sell. They were like these Adepticon extreme brushes that are incredible. They're really cool, and you can like travel with them, and you can literally put them in your pocket. But I bought those, and they were kind of dried out and not really holding a point, all this other stuff. I'm like, okay, I need to reconstitute these brushes. I need to get all this stuff back in. And I discovered this little, like, kind of hobby company called Monument Hobbies. And they make these brushes called, like Bombwicks. And they sell this like soap called like Jen's like unicorn soap or whatever that will reconstitute your brushes. And they make their own paints called Proacryl. So I decided to get a bunch of that stuff. And I actually, this ties in with the Would You Rather, because it was a hate my past self moment. I was like, why am I just using these things now? So I just want to toss that out there, that if you haven't tried out the Bombwicks or Proacryl or Gen soap stuff, for brush cleaning, do not hesitate. Like, it's legit. It's really, really good. Your future self will thank you. Because I messed up. I was like, and Kenny also recommended a brush, and I don't remember the name of it. I meant to write it down beforehand. But I'm painting 6mm Napoleonic guys. So they're absolutely tiny, and they're for a game called Travel Battle by Perry Miniatures. And they were a nightmare to paint until I got this brush that Kenny was like, get 3 of these. These are a workhorse brush. And, I'm just like, okay, 6mm.
Like, this is a company in there called King's Art. They make like art supplies, and they have a bunch of really shitty synthetic brushes. And there's this round 18-0 that like I I've always had one of those types of brushes in my arsenal for a certain type of work. And I teach in my one-on-one curriculum class. It's actually required that my students buy that brush by the third class for the highlighting because it's that important. But I did just throw a link in chat, though, for My Hobbies and that brush so people can actually get a link to it. Because
it's that thing. I was like, these 6mm guys are a nightmare to paint. And then once I got that brush, I was like, this is actually not that bad. It was like, whoop, you know, and granted, when they're 6mm, you're not so much painting guys, you're painting impressions. You know what I mean? You're not painting a face. You're painting a blob where a face would be.
Smaller the easier sometimes if you have the right tool for the job.
Yeah, and that's the case. It was like I was definitely not using. I was making my life more difficult by not having the correct tool. And then the Pro Krill, I don't even know how to describe it. Like I didn't even thin them. You just go from brush to airbrush, done, same thing. I was like, this is so legit. And they flow really well on the brush. And I have to apologize to Jason. And I mean, you guys have been talking about it and pushing it for at least 2 years. And I just didn't really have a need to get into it.
I think we had a conversation, right? Because you were like, I need to get this red to do my army, but they don't have it. And I had to get this red. And I think that was the moment. And you're like, well, if I can't get the fucking colors I used to use, might as well get something new.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So
yeah, some of the best paints, dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're
you're not the only one who's had that. I know some other people that I've gotten into Pro Krill who have only previously like been like conditioned to only use GW stuff, or they'll only use like the cheapest thing or whatever. And there's always like that same sense of like, it's almost like somebody like seeing color for the first time or hearing music for the first time, where it's like it just changes your entire existence. So like I've had people that it's like, wow, these like the difference in using Pro Acryl paint compared to even like high quality Vallejo paint is night and day, where they're like, I never even realized paint could be this nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here's this. I have the full set of pro acrylics, but I haven't had any big new hobby projects to work on them with. Like I've used them, I've tested them on a couple of things. I think I used one of the browns.
We could always paint some Blood Bowl.
You're right, I could. But why paint Blood Bowl when I could paint Titanicus? It's like,
well, then why aren't you painting Titanicus? You were just talking.
Yeah, seriously.
I know.
You just played yourself.
I did. But I have my paint schemes all set for this stuff. I haven't started a new. So like I'm locked into what I've used already on these projects, unfortunately. So, but as soon as I start a new project, maybe I'll do Deathwatch. I don't know.
You realize like at some point in the future, there's another callback to the Would You Rather. At some point in the future, like whatever recipe you're using today will no longer be available to you.
It is true.
So the longer you wait, the more you're going to have a collection that expands that you don't feel like you can match, when you should just make it. Because your future self would tell your past self, like, just do it now. Just fucking start painting the same color scheme with new paints right now.
And I think they're going to be a lot easier to get too, because he's already started doing retail racks. So I think he's posted up like 2 or 3 stores that you can get them at.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty neat to see that. And I like all his brushes too.
Chad was asking some questions. Just there's the blue handle, there's the blue handle Deathguard and the red handle igniters. Those are the 2 different types of painting brushes. One's a synthetic sable, one's a true Kolinsky sable. They're both really fucking good. They're both super good.
The blue handles, those are your utility brushes.
Oh, there's 3. There's a lighter blue handle ones. Yes.
Yeah, there is there's a blue handle, which is going to be your utility brushes like dry brushes and terrain brushes. There's the red handle, which are your nice organic painting your miniatures brushes of assorted sizes. And there's like a purple set, which are the same thing, but those are full synthetic brushes if you like synthetic and cheaper.
Synthetic sable. They're designed to imitate sable.
They're still like snappier than organic brushes. Some people like that. Some people don't. But yeah, I have some of the red handles here, the igniters. And I'll tell you, I was like a Winsor Newton Series 7 like fanboy for over a decade. And when I started beta testing these for Jason, I haven't bought any brushes since. Like these are the best ones. And they're way cheaper than Winsor Newtons.
Yeah, like half. And I'll say they're not as good in some ways as Winsor Newton. And those ways are like hair trimming, right? Like that's kind of where they cut the corners and extend the savings to the client. I did it today on my webinar where I was like, this brush I've been using, this red handle brush I've been using for 6 months is starting to these two hairs are starting to split off, and I cannot condition it back into the barrel anymore. Like it's been 6 months. I just literally isolated them and clipped them off. Back in business, baby. Like, so that's like that savings is extended to you as a customer. It's basically a Winsor Newton brush when you might occasionally have to trim a hair. And so you get them for half off. Like, how about that? That's sick.
Yeah.
I have I'm still using the black handled ones that.
Those are original beta, yeah. Those eventually became the red handled ones.
Yeah, no, they're red handled. This one's actually like losing its, I don't know, whatever the color.
Yeah, because those were like proofs that you got sent a number of, right? I think those are the ones with the extra long handles too, right?
Yeah, these are the long wicks.
That was one of the things that a lot of painters were initially like, hey man, like what the fuck is with these handles? It's like I'm trying to like write with an old timey feather quill that's like way out to here.
Oh, that's why I like them so much.
It reminds you of your childhood.
Yeah, like I can do calligraphy with these. Sweet. Nah, all this stuff's legit. And if you, I was actually able to restore some of my old brushes from like 10, 20 years ago with that Gentastic brush cleaner. But if you have something that's a little bit more stubborn, Winsor Newton makes a straight liquid cleaner that you can use on your brushes, and then make sure you use the Gentastic every time you paint to condition your bristles, and you will be good forever. Well,
I've seen other painters say that the Gen stuff is so much better because the other popular brand, the
Masters.
The original B&J stuff is actually detrimental to your brushes.
It's mostly alcohol. That's the problem. Yeah. You need alcohol involved in the compound, but theirs is like mostly alcohol. So that's astringent. It's bad for natural hair, and it's going to wreck the absorbent qualities that you cherish.
I'm super hard on my brushes, so I replace them every like 4 or 5 months anyways.
I mean, if you get 4 or 5 months out of a brush you spend $20 on, that's like...
Yeah, that's what it's a perishable resource.
That's how I look at that. That's how I look at it. It's like they're half the cost. And if you get 4 months of work out of it and you feel like you want a new bomb wick, you literally just got 2 for the price of 1 Winsor Newtons. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like they're just as good.
But I mean, I've got 6 months daily use out of one of my red handles, number 4.
Yeah, because I mean, like you and I and Rob, to some extent, are the same, where we paint way higher volume than the average person. So us getting 6 months out of a red handle brush is like a normie getting like 2 years out of that brush, right? Because we're working it to the bone.
As long as you keep that joint condition between uses, which is what Haspil did not do with his Adepticon brushes that he had to replace.
Well, I never even used them.
No, I mean, they dried out. Like your hair's going to dry out too.
Yeah, but they're reconditioned. They're great.
Oh, you actually repaired them with the Gentastic brush.
With the Gentastic. They're right back into operation. They're like new.
Oh shit!
In the game again.
Yeah, because I never even got to paint with them. They were like my travel brushes. Like when I go to
because they have a cap on them.
Yeah, because they have a cap on them. And
who actually makes those, Rob?
Store.
I think that's Games and Gears.
They're the ones who make it for other. They make it for other people. Yeah.
Yeah, Games and Gears is always the Adepticon brushes.
Yeah, and they're great brushes because I had other sets that I used. So, but this set was like brand new, and I never got to use it. And when I opened them up, they were just like, nah, they're done. But then I tried the Gentastic on them. They're great. They're better than they were when I bought them. So it's like, wow.
It's incredible. So I'm glad finally. So this is that moment when in your Would You Rather, when past Haspil's advice was finally fulfilled. Because I bet you would have gone another 10 years without making this jump. And so you just fulfilled the conversations you had.
Yeah, maybe.
Good job, past Haspil, for time traveling to the future. Future Haspil is like, just go get those fucking brushes. It makes me happy. I'm glad you're back in the game, though. I love all your dioramas and all the pictures you've been posting on Facebook with the smoke machines and the fucking cinematic shots and the forced perspective shots. fucking amazing.
Yeah.
The passion.
It's fun.
The passion. Glad to see you get back in the game because Haspil used to win tons of paint awards, guys. He used to show up with the most innovative looking armies. Like, can't wait to see you back at it, man.
Well, the other thing that really kicked me in the butt was when I opened up my hermetically sealed Space Wolves from 7th edition, and I forgot how good that army looked. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. That's the one I think of. I think of that and your old Grey Knights one when I think of this stuff. Like,
yeah,
your Grey Knights one was sick because you used a lot of shortcuts, but then you augmented it with effects, like through your effect knowledge, and it looks ridiculous with all those like Micro Hour Studios bases and stuff.
Yeah.
Remember those days? See, that's part of my childhood. I'm like my early 20s childhood, like my 40K childhood, thinking of like Mike Haspil's armies. That's dope. Man. All right. Meat and potatoes, Blood Angels time.
Oh, yeah.
Just run down the list. Just read them.
Stratagems. Let's do it.
Try not to get PTSD flashbacks to Mike Haspil. Just skip over Carbulo and a Storm Raven.
Descent of Angels, 1 CP.
Oh, I also should have said don't say Descent of Angels. He hates that one too.
Use a stratagem at the end of your movement phase. Select 1 Blood Angels core jump pack unit from your army that was set up on the battlefield during the reinforcement step of this phase. Until the end of the turn, each time a charge roll is made for that unit, you can ignore any roll modifiers to that charge roll. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack, add 1 to that attack's hit roll.
So basically, in a perfect world, you're going to mitigate a battlefield terrain that reduces the charge range and give yourself an extra attack. And in a not perfect world, you just get extra attacks. How many points? 1 CP?
Yeah.
Fucking solid stratagem.
Vengeance for Sanguinius, 1 CP. Use a stratagem in the fight phase when a Blood Angels unit from your army is selected to fight. Till the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack against a Black Legion unit, you can reroll that attack's hit roll, and you can reroll that attack's wound roll.
Does it have anything to do with how Horus slowly strangled Sanguinius to death that one time?
Yeah, you guys remember that time that Sanguinius got absolutely dumpstered by Horus, right?
Right. And the way I envisioned in my mind is he just had that talon wrapped around his little neck, and he's like, "Shh, go to sleep, go to sleep,
Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep."
Yeah.
Refusal to die, 1 or 2 CP. Use this stratagem after a Death Company unit from your army is selected as the target of an attack. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit would lose a wound, roll 1d6. On a 5-up, that wound is not lost. You can only use this stratagem once per turn. If that unit contains 5 or fewer models, it costs 1 CP. Otherwise, it costs 2.
See, this is why I'm thinking Disgusting Resilience is going to change. We're seeing stratagem-based moments of clunky dice rolling 5-up Field of Pains. And you want to know who also was known for fucking Field of Pain and Mass? Blood Angels. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of interesting. That's a useful stratagem in a pinch, though. I like that.
Very nice. Aggressive Onslaught, 1 CP. Use this stratagem in the fight phase. Select 1 Flesh Tearers infantry unit from your army. Till the end of that phase, each time a model in that unit makes a pylon or consolidation move, it can move up to an additional 3 inches.
An extra 3-inch consolidation?
Yeah, pylon or consolidation.
So it doesn't give it. Does it remove the requirement to move close to the closest enemy? No. Okay, just extra. Mm-hmm. Okay, still really good.
Yeah, just for cool thing for Flesh Tearers. Angel's Sacrifice, 1 CP. Use the stratagem in the fight phase. Select 1 Blood Angels character unit, excluding vehicles, from your army. Until the end of the phase, each time an enemy unit is selected to fight, if a model in that unit is within engagement range of that character unit, when your opponent is selecting targets for its attacks, those attacks can only target that character unit.
Real quick, what's the Blood Angels buff for being a Blood Angels? Just so like we
their
have
chapter
like,
tactic.
Yeah, it's like +1 to wound in the fight phase.
If they charged, charged or heroically intervened.
The first round of combat, they have +1 to wound in close combat.
Yeah.
That's what it was before, right?
Yeah, it stayed the same. Well, yeah. And also they get +1 to advance and charge moves.
Ooh.
And then what's their assault doctrine, super doctrine?
Well, I don't think they have anything extra for being an assault doctrine now. Although they can be in it kind of frequently because the sanguinary priest can flip it on within like 6 inches, I believe. But they do get Savage Echoes too. So they basically get +1 attack plus +1 attack from Space Marines when they charge.
Wait, so they have hateful or whatever. So they have but so the new thing is they have extra assault or extra charge range and extra run or advance range.
Yeah, +1. Oh wait, no, their assault isn't there. Hold on, I think they get +2 to their. There's something that gives them +2 to their assault, but it can't be stacked with anything else.
Oh, is it like a warlord trait or something like that?
Give me a second, I'll find it.
All right, Wyatt, continue on stratagems, and then Rob will cut back in.
All right, spiritual might, 1 CP. Use a stratagem in your psychic phase. Select 1 Blood Angel Psyker from your army. You can attempt to manifest 1 additional psychic power with that unit this phase.
How many CP?
So Savage
1.
It's good.
Savage Echoes is the +1 attack if they're an assault doctrine.
That's what
it also stacks with the other +1 attack.
Yeah, it's an additional. So when they're in assault doctrine, 2 extra attacks in the first round of close combat.
Mm-hmm. In the 2-inch charge thing, that's the chaplain litany. So their +1 doesn't stack with anything else.
So it's either 2 or 1
with the chaplain litany. You don't get 3 if you
get 2 or 1.
To hate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next one is Visions of Sanguinius, 1 CP. Use a stratagem when a Death Company character from your army is selected to fight. That model can do one of the following. If that model has already used a Death Vision, it can use another Death Vision this phase. This cannot be a Death Vision you have already used during this battle. If that model has not already used a Death Vision, it can use 2 different Death Visions this phase. Neither can be a Death Vision you have already used during this battle.
So we're going to have to go read Death Visions now.
Yeah. Rob, what are Death Visions?
You find those.
So if you have Black Rage, you have access to the Death Visions. Let me find them real quick. They preview some of them.
I hear you flipping through a Blood Angels Codex over there.
There is a Blood Angels Codex here. So there's 3 different ones. The first one is +1 to that model's attack characteristic for every 5 enemy that are within 6 of it. And each time that model makes an attack, you can reroll the hit roll. Or if an enemy character or monster character models are within engagement range, it has a 3-up invulnerable.
Oh, shit.
Or if an enemy character or monster character are within engagement range, you roll off with the enemy. If you win, you select one of those enemy models and they suffer D3 +3 mortal wounds.
So even more ways to get more attacks, and they can get a stock 3-up invulnerable in that one scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Just say that like a 3-up invulnerable.
Yeah, it just says if a model uses this Death Vision, then until the end of that turn, this model has a 3-up invulnerable.
It has versus monsters and vehicles, or
if an enemy character or monster character models are within engagement range.
So, is it possible that this guy can have a Storm Shield and have a 2-up invulnerable?
Storm Shield is
Storm Shields are 4-up now.
Right, but
unless you're custodian. This
Death Vision instantly gives you a 3-up invulnerable. It doesn't the other thing say +1 to your save? Isn't that give you
I don't think it does. I think it stacks. I'll check, but I think it sticks it to 4.
Just a side question. Wyatt, back to stratagems, please.
Okay. Angel Exemplar, that's your extra boiler trait stratagem. You stack One additional warlord trait. It's your double
Classic.
Up thing. Yeah. Angel's Ascendant is your relic stratagem, and it also rolls in Sergeant into that.
So you can get your Mastercraft and stuff.
Yeah. Lucifer Pattern Engines, 1 CP. Use a stratagem before the battle. Select one Blood Angel's vehicle model, excluding Dreadnought, or a model that can fly from your army. That model gains the following ability: Overcharged Engines. Each time this model advances, do not make an advance roll. Instead, until the end of the phase, add 6 to the move characteristic of this model.
Classic.
Armor honored by the.
How many CP was the Lucifer engines?
1. Honored by the Arx Angelicum, 1 CP. Use a stratagem after nominating a model drawn from a Blood Angels successor chapter to be your warlord. You can give 1 relic of the angels to that character. This is the you can use a
Classic, yeah.
Blood Angel specific relic on a successor guy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Red Rampage, 1 CP. Use this stratagem in your command phase if the assault doctrine is active for your army. Until your next command phase, each time a Blood Angels model from your army makes an attack with a pistol or melee weapon, on an unmodified wound roll of 6, the AP characteristic of that attack is improved by 1. This bonus is cumulative with the Combat Doctrines ability. You can only use this stratagem once.
Is this the whole army?
Yeah, army-wide.
Fuck.
All Blood Angels models.
Fuck. Rob, what's the conclusion? What's the Stone Shield read?
Just a straight 4-up. You get a +1 to your armor.
Okay,
save.
that was my question. Thank you. I was just curious. It's like, is this guy gonna go heavy? I haven't used the Stone Shield, so.
Yeah.
So now we know what Death Visions are. Let's circle back to that stratagem about Death Visions.
Okay. Visions of Sanguinius. So when a Death Company character is selected to fight, that model can do one of the following. If that model has already used a Death Vision, it can use another Death Vision this phase, but it can't be duplicated. If that model has not already used a Death Vision, it can use 2 different Death Visions this phase. Neither can be a Death Vision you've already used.
Rob, how do you use a Death Vision? How do you access a Death Vision?
I think you just pop it.
You just say, like, is there a procedure, command phase for Black Rage? Like, what is it? Procedurally.
Once per battle and this model is selected to fight, it can use one of the Death Visions listed below. Cannot be the same. Cannot be used more than once per battle.
So just 3 free new special rules, and this stratagem lets you double up on some that you haven't used.
Yes, but you do have to have, generally, if it has the Death Visions, it also has the Black Rage, so you pretty much have to either...
How do you give someone Black Rage? Is that a stratagem that has yet to come up?
It's kind of like upgrading people to Chapter Master. You can pay the points to upgrade either a character or a...
Because it used to be 1 CP pre-game.
Now it's 20 points for a captain.
When you get Black Rage, do you get anything else? Do you get besides the keyword like feel no pain?
You do. There's some benefits. So
6-up feel no pain?
You cannot. You get a 6-up.
Yeah.
You can't fall back.
No.
But each time this unit fights, made a charge move, heroically intervened. Until that fight is resolved, add +1 to the attack characteristic.
Woo! Attacks on attacks, baby. I'm hearing like dudes running around with chainswords with AP6 fucking 10 attacks.
But you can't sit still long enough to perform actions. So not holding objectives or doing the actions.
There's definitely some interesting lawnmowering going on here. Okay. Thank you for the clarification, Rob. We got Wyatt squinted at the screen trying to decipher Spiky Bits articles.
I was trying not to cough. Unbridled Ardor, 1 CP. Use the stratagem at the end of the heroic interventions step of your opponent's charge phase. Select 1 sanguinary guard unit from your army that is within 6 inches horizontally and 5 inches vertically of any enemy units. The selected unit is eligible to perform a heroic intervention as if it were a character unit. And when performing that heroic intervention, each model in that unit can move up to 6 inches instead of 3 inches. All other rules for heroic interventions still apply.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty cool. Forlorn Fury, 1 CP or 2 CP. Use a stratagem at the start of the first battle round before the first turn begins. Select 1 Death Company unit from your army. That unit can make a normal move of up to 12 inches as if it were your movement phase, but must end that move more than 9 inches away from any enemy models. If both players have units that can move before the first turn begins, the player who is taking the first turn moves their units first. If that unit contains a Dreadnought model, or if it contains 6 or more models, the stratagem costs 2 CP. Otherwise, it costs 1 CP.
Yeah, they had this before. So, like, this is the pre-game Death Company move. So you can basically take a fat squad of Death Company jetpack guys, move them 12 up to 12 inches. Right? But it's up to 12 inches their normal move. So if a guy only moves 6, he goes 6.
I think this is better because you already know who's going first.
Well,
So
I like
you
the
know if you
clarification. The clarification, because this is always a thing, right? Like,
Yeah, it's like, do you try to bait out the other person to do their redeploy, or do you have to roll off, or what? So this one states
different tournaments had different rules on this, and I love it that rules are now just saying, like, you go first, you're doing it first.
Yeah. Okay. Upon Wings of Fire, 1 CP. Use a stratagem in your movement phase. Select 1 Blood Angels Core jump pack unit from your army and remove it from the battlefield. In the reinforcement step of your next movement phase, set up that unit anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from any enemy models. If the battle ends and that unit is not on the battlefield, it is destroyed.
I love it. They all pull it off the table, put it back down. That's fucking sick.
Yeah, the big change to this one, though, is you can't do it on characters, and it makes you wait a whole turn.
Makes you wait
before
a turn,
bringing
yeah.
it back. Yeah. Savage Destruction for the Flesh Tearers, 1 CP. Use a stratagem in the morale phase. When a morale test is failed for an enemy unit that is within engagement range of any Flesh Tearers units from your army. Till the end of the turn, subtract 1 from combat attrition test taken for that enemy unit.
The old leadership manipulator. There's always one.
Chalice Overflowing, 1 CP.
Ooh, Pimp Cup strong.
Yep. Use this stratagem in your command phase. Select 1 sanguinary priest model from your army. That model can use its Blood Chalice ability 1 additional time this phase.
Hey, Rob, you said the Blood Chalice abilities will let them manipulate the doctrine?
So I think it's any Blood Angels units within 6, excluding vehicles. So core or Blood Angels characters within 6 can, if the Devastator Doctrine or Tactical Doctrine is active, they get to, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, the Assault Doctrine is considered to be active for that attack instead. So they get
Baller.
so,
Love it.
yeah, so they
Very
can get
good
bonus
feel.
attacks, negative AP, all that.
Very nice. Very nice. That's all the stratagems.
That's very Blood Angels. That's a good feeling. That's a solid, like, totally Blood Angels feeling. Or, like, at least 5th edition's Blood Angels feeling. You got to get your era correct, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty hype. Any high Warlords, traits, relics we should look at? Real quick.
Quick list. If he wants to hear it.
I'm sure there's some game breakers in there.
Relics and special issue war gear. Let's see. There was one that somebody was telling me about. I think it's the Visage of Death. So each time a melee attack is made against this unit, subtract 1 from the attack's hit roll. And the bearer gains the following ability, Visage of Death Aura. When an enemy unit is within 3 inches of this model, it loses the objective secured ability and any similar abilities that allow it to control an objective marker regardless of the number of enemy models within range of that objective marker.
Ooh, eat a dick.
So this is like pocket terror troops on all the time. A lot of people are talking about putting this on the chaplain on bike and just having him roll around with the rights of battle warlord trait. So you have like OBSEC, Blood Angel, Outriders rolling deep onto an objective with this chaplain. Just
mine.
Yeah.
Mine.
Yeah. Wow.
It's good. It's good. Good descriptor too. Death Visage. Gotta put that scary mask on him.
I don't know if these two together cool ones.
Oh yeah, let's go to a unit real quick. We don't have to do it all. Like, what about Gabriel Seth? Or not Gabriel? Is it Gabriel Seth?
We're talking about Sanguinator.
Yeah. Well, let's look at the new the character updates.
You want me to just go in order? Or
Yeah, just go in order. Okay.
Okay. So Commander Dante. Let's see. Move 12, hits on 2s, Strength 4, T4, 6 wounds, 6 attacks, Leadership 9, 2 up armor save. Got his Inferno Pistol, which has the new Melta stuff, and the Axe Mortalis, which is going to hit at Strength 7, -3 for 2 damage. He's got Angel's Death, Death from Above, Death Mask of Sanguinius. Each time an attack is made against this model, subtract 1 from that attack's hit roll. Got a 4-up invul save. If your army is Battleforged, when you select this model to be your warlord, you receive 1 additional command point. He's a chapter master. He has rights of battle and epic hero of the Imperium. Once per battle, if this model is selected to use an epic deed stratagem, that stratagem costs 0 command points.
That's nice.
He's a bit of a baller.
Yeah.
He's 175.
Nice.
That's 160.
Sanguinor, move 12, hits on 2, Strength 4, T4, 5 wounds, 5 attacks, Leadership 9, 2 up armor save. He's got the Encarmine Broadsword, Strength 6, -4, 2 damage. Unmodified wound roll of a 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound in addition to normal damage. Angels of Death, Death from Above, Aura or Fervor. Friendly. Yeah, it's +1 attack characteristics to core or Blood Angel's characters.
More attacks.
Not cumulative with the additional attack granted by Shock Assault.
Womp womp.
What's that is? Does he have an invulnerable save?
Yes, he has a 4-up. I just go in order. So each time a melee attack is made, subtract 1 for hit. Miraculous Savior at the end of the heroic intervention step of your opponent's charge phase. This model has not been set up on the battlefield, and if any enemy units finished a charge move within engagement range of any friendly Blood Angels units in this phase, you can set up this model within engagement range of one of those enemy units. This model counts as having performed a heroic intervention in the turn it uses this ability.
From downtown.
He can deep strike, heroic intervene into combat.
Oh man, can Hail Mary his way across the battlefield until a fight.
That's pretty awesome.
And remember, you can play that stratagem so everybody has to fight him.
He has to be in reserves, though. You can't do it from one side to the other side. He has to be held in reserve. That's still pretty fucking cool.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
And you can also make him strike first if you really wanted to. You can make everybody have to attack him, and he goes first.
Wow.
So
it's a good combo. That's a good combo.
This model is eligible to declare a charge even when it fell back. This model is eligible to perform a heroic intervention if it is within 6 inches. Each time it makes a heroic intervention move, it can move up to 6 inches instead of 3. All other rules for heroic intervention still apply.
That's a gangster wombo combo right there. It's like the
Sanguinor
fucks.
Falling out. Yeah.
He used to be a big part of my old 5th edition list.
Let's see. Oh, here's Mephiston, our boy.
Oh, that's my boy. He was also the other big part of my old 5th edition list.
Move 7, hits on 2, strength 5, T5, 6 wounds. 5 or 6? It's a little blurry. 5 or 6 wounds, 5 attacks, leadership 9, 2 up armor save.
What was the status?
5. He's strength and toughness 5. He's got the plasma pistol. He's got the sword that's going to be strength 10 because it's times 2, minus 3 AP, D3 damage.
Mhm.
Lord of Death. Each time this model would lose a wound on a roll of 5. Yep. And Psychic Hood. So +1 to target's chest. Yep.
I think it might be worth mentioning that the Sanguinary Priest has a jump pack, and now you can do that trick. No, the Sanguinary Priest above Mephiston. So you can do that trick that everybody wants to do with the restoring a full 8 wounds to the buggies or whatever. You could actually keep up with the buggies now because he has a jump pack.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that one. I forgot about that.
That little thing.
Oh, my God, people.
Now you can't. Well, I imagine Ravenwing's going to get to do it too, but this is the first, I think, time you could actually keep up with the buggies and do it.
Ravenwing Apothecary could already do that because they can be.
Oh, right, because they already have. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
So they already can. But that's a bike. This is a jump pack. Come on, man.
Damn, I'm about to go revisit the oh my God, 5th edition Blazers list.
It's
Yeah, dude. Sanguinor is balling out of control.
Love
yeah,
this guy.
he's pretty fresh. But I mean, I don't think there's any strats you can play on him to keep him, quote, alive.
Yeah, but I mean, that's all characters, and you just gotta live with it. I mean, he is.
Yeah.
That is one of the spiciest like Uno reverse cards that I've seen in 40K in a while.
I want to do a sketch where me and Wyatt are playing, and I'm playing Blood Angels. Sagador's on the table, and he's like sweating close up. He's gonna do this charge, and then he goes and he does a charge close up, and then it pans back out. I'm like literally on the other side of the convention hall. I'm like, hey, hold on a second. I just throw something at him, hands back to him, and it's fucking Sagador in his hand. I'm like, put that guy in the fight, motherfucker. It's like, oh, yeah. I love this. What else we got character wise?
That's it.
We don't have the flesh tag guy?
Not on this article.
Rob,
Oh, here, I got it.
please.
We did 2 articles. Seth is weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 2, strength 4, toughness 4, 6 wounds, 5 attacks, leadership 9, 3 up. He has a bolt pistol and the Blood Reaver, which is ×2 strength, -2 AP, 3 damage.
Damage.
So
Damage what?
swinging at that strength 8.
How is it? Wait,
What's the damage?
Is it 2 AP or 3 AP?
It's 2 AP, 3 damage.
Okay.
You said that in a way that made it seem like you left out the
You
damage.
said you said Age of Sigmar, so you were like -2, 3 AP, 3 damage.
Wow. Sorry.
So is it a chain sword? Does it get plus D3 attacks or something crazy?
I'm reading it here. So he's got a 4-up invul. At the end of the fight phase, if he's in engagement range, he can fight again.
Oh, yes.
While friendly flesh tears are within 6, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack on an unmodified wound of 6, the damage characteristic of that attack is increased by 1.
There's a lot of attack stacking with this combination.
In the command phase, select one friendly Flesh Terror's core or Flesh Terror's character within 6 until the start of your next command phase. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack, you can reroll the hit roll. And rights of battle, normal rights of battle, reroll hit rolls of 1 for Flesh Terror's core within 6. So, yeah, it just looks like the Blood Reaver is base -2, 3 damage, ×2 strength with 5 attacks, but it's easy to get attacks.
So it's 5 attacks, 6 in the first round of close combat. He gets
more.
Right. That's
possibly.
just stock. That's just stock right there. So this guy has 6
that's
attacks
stock.
from stock.
Mm-hmm.
And we can play a stratagem to make a 7. We can be there's like 2 other +1s, right?
Well, +1 to wound.
If you're in assault phase, Savage Echoes, you get +1 attack. And
8.
And you get the additional AP.
So it's like AP 3 damage,
Strength
16
and you get +1 to wound. So you're wounding normal stuff on 2s, tough stuff on 3s.
He's responsible for like potentially 16 or more attacks that just savage things. And
yeah, and it's 3 damage, so your damage ceiling is like
I mean, he's a murderer.
Yeah.
And then he has a bubble
160.
that all the guys around him have two damage chain swords basically in this combination if you want to go that route. And again, them as well, stacking attacks and AP. So now you got a bunch of dudes with 2 damage AP, fucking 3 chain swords or some shit.
Yeah, as long as you load friendly cores around him within 6, they're all getting extra attack on on a wound roll of
Bladeguard veterans
6
around Gabriel Seth is terrifying.
Yeah, I'm like, can we get these guys on the old Blood Angel Storm Raven?
Talk about them 3 damage mastercrafted power swords with additional AP. Like, whoo.
Yo, I kind of want to bring back the Storm Raven with him and these dudes in it, and the old Librarian Dreadnought and Toll trick. Like, I kind of want to bring that back.
Well, see, that's the hard part is because he's not Primaris, so he can't get into anything that Bladeguard.
Yeah, he can't go in.
And they can't get any.
I'll take a full. It takes 12 dudes in there. I'll take a full squad of fucking Death Company fucking dudes with chainswords, bro. Inside that Storm Raven, with that combination, you got enough space to throw your Sanguinary Priest in there.
In Death Company, you can get them 5-up Feel My Pain now with a strat.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I'm thinking like 10 of these dudes, Priest, Seth, Storm Raven. Get the fuck in. I'm ready to go.
Like in the new book, the chapter tries to betray him and do a coup on him, and so he just murders everybody.
That's right, chat. We can't forget the Dreadnought. We gotta have the Dreadnought in tow as well. Death Company Dreadnought. Fuck it.
Hells yeah.
Yep.
The murder claws they're spicy.
I once killed like 38 guardsmen, or the whole squad. It would have killed 30.
Oh, the Blood Talons.
I killed an entire fucking conscript block squad with that fucking guy back in the day with respawning attacks.
Yep.
I was just like, I got down to that one dice.
I remember in like 5th edition the way that the blood claw, or what are they called?
Blood talons. Like, it's just
blood talons.
Every hit, every successful hit meaning that you got another attack, right? So you'd have 5 attacks. You roll your dice, you pull the misses out, wound. So every time you kill the guy, you killed 3 guys, you got 3 more attacks, right? And so you kept going, so eventually you missed, right? And I had one time I had the full 20 conscripts like around this guy, like they bubble wrapped him so I couldn't get out of the fight. I was like, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen right fucking now, guys.
Is that when the Dreadnought just like holds his arms out to the side and starts rotating around his axis like a literal blender, just walking forward?
Well, it got to the
he's doing the old like Bart Simpson where he's just like windmill of death.
I'm not hitting you. It got to the point where I got to 1 dice kind of early in the sequence though. That's when I was like, fuck, because I had the 5, rolled it, missed like 3, right? Killed 2 guys. Rolled 2 more attacks, missed 1, was down to 1 that fast. I was like, and then literally it was just like 1 hit, 1 wound, 1 hit, 1 wound, 1 hit, 1 wound, because he rerolled wounds too. Literally got them all. So he wasn't windmilling. He was literally like, they just kept running at him like an anime. This guy was so mad.
I like my visual image a lot better. I thought mine was funnier.
Yours is funnier, but that's not how the story went down.
Probably worth mentioning the Sanguinary Guard are pretty good now.
Nice.
For 35 points.
35 points a guy with like 2 wounds now? Like
yep, they got their 2 wounds.
2 wounds, 2 of save. Jealous Bolter.
I have a ton of those guys.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm happy to hear that.
They, you can leave them in deep, you can deep strike them in with the death from above. But each time a melee attack is made against the unit, subtract 1 from that attack's hit roll.
The death masks that they all have.
Yep, death mask. And then they also, if they're within 6 inches of Blood Angel's Warlord, add 1 to their attack's hit roll.
And they all have the Encarmine Blaze and stuff, so they're gangsters.
Oh, yeah, or they can have the axe.
Or the Power Fist.
Or
they actually have 3 weapon options. They're pretty. I used to have in my 5th edition list. I used to have. Just check out this 5th edition list. The one that we wanted to go with. 4 rhinos with 5 with minimum assault squads, no jump packs. Because remember, you could do that. You could take an assault squad and buy them a rhino instead. So 4 rhinos, 5 guys in each rhino, 1 melta, nothing else. And then behind the rhino wall was 20 jump pack marines. And chilling in with those 20 jump pack marines was at least 1. Was with a squad of sanguinary priests, because you also could upgrade the one sanguinary guard. Sorry. one Sanguinary Guard, and one Honor Guard squad because they can buy a priest with a Fatal Pain bubble. So it was literally like 40 jump pad guys behind this rhino wall. And then inside of one of the rhinos, it kept it empty and left the other 5 dudes that bought the rhino for back somewhere in an objective. And inside of one rhino was Mephiston by himself. Because he couldn't join squads. And you couldn't go into rhinos and shit back in those days unless you were part of the squad. Remember, he wasn't an independent character. So one empty rhino with just Mephiston, rest of the hobos, whole blockade of guys behind it, and just a bunch of Sanguinary Guard bubbles and Sanguinator back there. So, like, just basically would move this fucking lift across the table, get into fights with people, just spawning infinite auras off on fools. And Mephiston casting Wings of Sanguinius, and he just go hop off and murder the shit out of stuff. It was the fucking funnest shit ever.
Yeah, that was a really fun army to play.
God. That was before Storm Ravens anything. That was just like how we played it.
Gangsta.
Now I'm like, can I make that list work again?
You might be able to.
Then later it was Storm Raven, Corbulo, Terminators. Inside there, it was just Corbulo and Terminators. They just jump out of this Storm Raven. Corbulo had this stupid Pimp Chalice that you got 1 free reroll per game. And it was like, just to put in perspective, anybody who's new to this hobby, new to this game, like, you get to kind of sort of reroll things whenever you want. That was not the game we used to play.
Oh yeah, that was back in the day. Having a reroll was insane.
Having a single one-use only reroll was game breaking. It felt at times because I would play against Mike all the time. And he'd be like, "All right, I'm gonna blow up the fucking Storm Raven. Here's the last multi-melted shot that's gonna take it down." And I'd fail my Jinx save and be like, "I'm gonna reroll that and pass it. Literally win the game."
Yep.
But that's a thing you just do now, and you're prepared for that. You just know there's gonna be some reroll. You know. But back in those days, it was like, I can't believe that just fucking happened.
I remember one time we were playing that game at Complete Games, and somebody that mom and her kid were watching us play, and that happened. Mm-hmm. And then I conceded. It was like the top of turn 1.
Yeah, I go first. I move my Storm Raven up. It's his turn. That's how we play. Like, that's all I do is move the Storm Raven up with the full load. And then he's like, all right, my 3 Longfang squads better blow this motherfucker up.
Yep.
And then it's down to the last one. I Corbulo re-roll it, pass it, and he's like, game's over.
He's like, good game. And so we just like stopped, and they were like, what happened? We're like, no, you have to understand. Like, we have played this scenario out. We're just going to save ourselves 2 hours and go over to Chipotle and eat.
Remember like the jankiness? Do you remember escorting Marines off the table? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Because like things would fall back in those days. They didn't just die squat like arbitrarily. Like if you broke somebody's leadership, they fell back. And unless they were Marines, like they would just keep falling back. Right. Yeah. Marines, though, couldn't auto rally if there was an enemy unit within 6 inches. So like that's why the game was over. Cause I would roll up, spread the guys out, touch his units in such a way where just like his strongest units were barely touching my unit, but I would just like lawnmower the Longfang. So like I'm going to win combat by 15 so that everyone on his side is minus 15 in leadership. They all fail. Yep. And the Storm Raven's just right there. They all fall back. And then I move the Storm Raven up again. They fall back off the table. Game's over.
Yep, that's it.
It's literally like that was every.
You could also overrun where if something fell back, you could do a check and just be like, oh, I just catch up to those dudes and kill them.
Unless they were Marines, right? Marines. That's why Marines were the best, right? Because they should know no fear. That's what it meant. It's like you couldn't overrun them, and they could auto rally. Like it was a crazy game, guys. As I think about how we play the game,
it's a lot different. Yeah,
there was some great silly shit going on back in those days.
I mean, even like. Going back to like invisible Nurgle bikers, like how infuriating that was to play against, because you either had like one chance to deny it, and if you fail, then it's just like, well, this sucks dick. Or if you didn't even have a psyker and you couldn't deny it, you were just like, oh, okay, so I just got paired with somebody who brought like, a bazillion, T6.
My whole army is one squad. That's how. That's because independent
and
characters.
Then like you can only hit them on 6s now. And you're just like, oh, okay.
So yeah, people complaining these days about like some OP shit is like you weren't even there.
Man, the days where like people would fast play and it's like to get a Jinx save you have to move. So you would just like touch a squad with your finger.
You're like, I go in a circle.
you're like, yeah, I moved them 3 inches forward and 3 inches back, and just like not even pick up the models just so you could get your stupid jinx save. And you're just like, I hate everything about this.
We didn't pay for reinforcement points when we summoned things in the battlefield.
Oh yeah.
I like Ninth Edition. I like it.
Yeah, the game's in a better place now.
Yeah,
It's
no,
the best.
for sure.
It's the best, dude. Eighth was already the best.
Eighth was a really good addition. Ninth is an improvement to eighth.
Yeah, eighth was the first new edition, and then now we have an improvement on the first new edition.
Yeah, and I think something we can maybe, I think we're getting close to the end, but every one of these books for supplements feels like how that army should play. I know a lot of people were complaining that Blood Angels doesn't have a lot of it's kind of stacked with reroll charge stuff, but there's still a lot of stuff that gives you plus. Yeah, I mean, right off the bat with chaplains, you get +2 to your charge, and you've already got your +1 for the whole army. So it's like, I feel like everything is decently balanced for what you can do.
I mean, they're in the Space Marine Codex now, so you have access to...
The GW is listening to the audience. The audience got mad when Blood Angels stopped being that snapshot, right? 5th edition Blood Angels, everyone kind of fell in love with that style. It wasn't like that at 3rd. They were like a regular Space Marine army that had some countercharge like specializations, right? And in 5th edition, when we got the new decks, they became this like crazy murderous assault force, right? Where like you didn't care about heavy weapons anymore, nothing. Like it was just like all in your grill. And then they kind of went back to the older theme a little bit, like where there's more like traditional stuff, and you do have some of your Blood Angel elements, but kind of the audience kind of spoke. They're like, no, we want that 5th edition style. We want that like murder force, like that like ferociousness. And this is intriguing because GW did it, I think, with the Space Wolves too, while honoring the Parent Codex. And they definitely did it with Blood Angels right now while honoring the Parent Codex. So like this is a good indicator.
Yeah. And then you have access now to all of the new shit in the Space Marine decks. So like I would caution people that play Blood Angels that like going like tunnel vision onto just the murder hobo close combat forces is a trap. We've seen that a long time. I mean, that was why for the longest time nobody played pure Blood Angels in 8th edition. They would only take like a detachment that was like a couple of characters and maybe like some Death Company or like maybe one unit of Sanguinary Guard with a captain, right? And now we see people going full into Blood Angels, but kind of doing the same thing to their detriment in this format. So like one thing that I've seen a lot of is like right now, if you don't have really strong, consistent anti-armor shooting as a Space Marine player, like you're going to have a bad time. And if you invest your anti-armor into vehicles itself, you're also going to have a bad time because people are stacking things like Eradicators and other types of infantry-based anti-armor. And then you run into Harlequins and they're the vehicle fund police. So if you're playing Blood Angels, like don't sleep on Eradicators and other types of like basic troop units, things like Outriders, and other types of like shooting forces, because you do have access to those and they're just as strong for you as they are for everybody else.
Words of wisdom. Shit, do I have to make a Blood Angel t-shirt now?
Yep.
I'm gonna do a death mask with a single tier. Does it already have a tier on the death mask? Is it already
can you just do like a face down like dead body of Sanguinus?
Oh, I can do that.
It just says like, like Horus sends his regards.
The trigger. How about like a Blood Angel hardcore like prison thug with like prison tats on his face, including the tears, like, but they're red?
Why don't you just do Mephiston?
Yeah, you're right. Probably just do Mephiston.
I feel like you could really just fall out of
death mask or Mephiston?
Mephiston.
I mean, what if you did like a twofer, like two heads, like one looking either way, so it's like the head of the same.
Oh, it's almost like Mephiston and Dante back to back. I'm with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with it. All right, you got me. I'm ready to go. I gotta edit this podcast so I can start drawing.
Yep.
Haspil, take us out of here.
I want him dead. I want his family dead. I want his house burnt to the ground. I want to go in the middle of the night and piss on his ashes.